Welcome to the No DQ live recap of WWE NXT for May the 25th, 2021. This NXT episode had a World Championship match. Karrion Kross defending against Finn Balor, and some other interesting events happened on this show as well. Shout out to the chat room watching this live, and thank you to everybody watching, whether it's live or on demand. Let's get started with the recap. We kicked off NXT with a Balor versus Kross video package. Nicely done, of course, by WWE. And then we had our first match of the evening. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, the NXT Women's Champion. Moon got a couple of early near falls on Gonzalez, but then Gonzalez pulled Dakota Kai out of the ring, helping her, giving the heels the advantage for a while. Then we had Ember Moon countering Raquel's powerbomb attempt with a modified Eclipse, sending Raquel to the outside of the ring. You had Shotzi and Ember double teaming Dakota. Dakota was pinned, giving Ember and Shotzi the win. And after the match, Raquel Gonzalez came back in and attacked both of them. Raquel took Shotzi and power bombed her into the outside barricade and into the ring post, and then on top of the ringside barrier. Nice opening match here, and of course, Raquel looking strong in defeat with the post-match beatdown, getting her heat back, as they like to say. We had a promo from Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, and they talked about how they have unfinished business with the Grizzled Young Veterans, and there will be a round 3 between the two teams. They will finish things once and for all. We then had Pete Dunne versus Bobby Fish, who just returned to action from his tricep injury. And during this match, Dunne went after the tricep, but Fish was able to stay in it. The match went back and forth for a while. Dunne went after the fingers, and then Fish tried to go after the fingers, doing the joint manipulation, but Dunne was able to get out of that. He hit the bitter end, and he picked up the win over a very game Bobby Fish. And after the match was over, Oney Lorcan, who was there at ringside, he got in the ring and attacked Bobby Fish. I guess Bobby Fish has somebody that he can face now to get his win back. Elon Brown says Raquel versus Dakota Kai is the match. I definitely see that happening at some point. Much like Shawn Michaels and Diesel, I think there will be an eventual breakup with them. They're doing the slow build for it. And Elon also says Bobby Fish needs the Undisputed Era. Well, there is no more Undisputed Era, so I'm not sure what Bobby Fish can do long term, but hey, he can beat Oney Lorcan to get a win after losing on this episode of NXT. We had a promo in the studio from Hit Row, and they talked about how it's time to go gold, and they vowed to go after all the championships and all the top people in NXT, saying they're going to slap some L's on their heads like they're all Mario's brother. And I was like, damn, that's harsh. Poor Luigi. Why do you have to do Luigi dirty like that? But yeah, good promo from these guys. I'm enjoying everything they've done up to this point. So far, so good. Like I said in previous weeks, it's something fresh. It's something different. We had Mercedes Martinez against Zayda Ramir. And not much to say about this one. Basically just a showcase match for Mercedes to pick up a win. And she won with the air raid crash. After the match was over, the lights went out. We had this red lighting and smoke from Zaya Lee. Her logo popped up on the big screen. And then back in the ring, it was revealed that Mercedes has been marked. She had that logo on her hand. Yeah, it was kind of like the Kane setup with the red lighting and the smoke and everything. We had $1 million face-off. Not any normal face-off, but $1 million face-off. We had Ted DiBiase interrupt Cameron Grimes before Grimes could even say anything. And Grimes just wanted to know, why is Ted DiBiase screwing with him? Grimes said he was never always rich. There was a period where he had no money, and DiBiase has let him down. Grimes said to never meet your idols. DiBiase responded by saying he likes Grimes. They actually have a lot more in common than you might think. However, Grimes has lost focus ever since he became rich, as far as DiBiase is concerned. We had LA Knight interrupt and said that he actually gets the job done. He's walking, talking gold, and he could take the $1 million legacy to new heights. DiBiase responded by praising LA Knight. Grimes was getting very upset about this, told Knight to get out of the ring or he'll kick his ass straight to the moon. Grimes then turned his attention back to DiBiase, and he got jumped by LA Knight. And DiBiase said that Grimes is just never going to get it. DiBiase laughed at him and took off with LA Knight. So it looks like LA Knight is aligned with Ted DiBiase. I guess this is officially a babyface turn for Cameron Grimes. Darren says, I was hoping to see the $1 million belt. As was I, and there was a rumor about the belt being used, but yeah, no $1 million title. Maybe next week. Maybe we have LA Knight as the new $1 million champion with Ted DiBiase. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Good segment here. I liked it. Always happy to see DiBiase doing something. And Darren says, hey, Aaron, didn't Bobby Fish need the win more than Pete Dunne? No, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. I will get to that. Backstage, we had Indi Hartwell looking for Dexter Lumis. She interrupted Ever Rise's live segment that they do, and Drake Maverick was there. He saw Dexter go into this room down the hall earlier, so Indi went into the hall, which led to a door, and inside this room, it was dark, the lights came on, and there were all these pictures of broken hearts and a picture of Dexter Lumis with a knife going through the heart. And yeah, Dexter is just heartbroken because in that spa segment last week, Indi called him a loser without realizing that he was the one that actually sent her the flowers. So like this storyline, they keep it going. Good stuff here from them. We had the debut on NXT of Frankie Monet in the ring. She had what Wade Barrett described as a $30,000 robe. She fought Cora Jade and, basically just a squash match. Jade got a little bit of offense, but not much. Frankie Monet picked up the win. Looking good here in her debut. Fine stuff here from her. We had a promo from the Grizzled Young Veterans saying that they are done with Ciampa and Thatcher. They're going for the tag team titles currently held by MSK. And then we had a promo from Imperium with Walter talking about how they need to right the wrongs. Imperium needs to win back the tag team titles. The mat is sacred, and MSK, while they are showmen, Imperium, they are professional wrestlers. Nice little promo here, getting Walter on the show, even though he's not in the U.S. right now. Dwayne Atkinson with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Dwayne. Says, so who's the heel, LA Knight or Cameron Grimes? Again, I think it's a face turn for Cameron Grimes. And let's face it, people have been cheering him anyways. People like Cameron Grimes. He's fun. I think it's a face turn for Grimes. I really don't see LA Knight as the face in this with DiBiase. I feel bad for Grimey. I really do. I think he's the one with the sympathy. We had Bronson Reed come to the ring, the new North American champion, for his victory promo. The fans chanted, "You deserve it." He said it took him 14 years to get there. Was not an easy road, but he grinded. He became a champion. We then had Legado del Phantasma interrupt, and Santos Escobar said that the title belongs to him. The three of them surrounded the ring. MSK ran down to even the odds, and they cleared the ring of Legado del Phantasma. It was announced that next week it will be Legado del Phantasma challenging MSK for the tag team titles. And I like what they've done with the tag division on this show. They had a lot of segments with the tag teams, even if they weren't in matches, just making it clear that there's several teams in contention. And we actually had 3 women's matches on this show, which is good as well. So every division is getting a good amount of time and attention. I'm very happy about that. That's one good thing about NXT. They're very balanced with everything. Dwayne Atkinson with a $2 super chat. Oh, I already said that one. Never mind. Elon Brown says Walter versus Kross is a money match, NXT versus NXT UK. That would be very interesting, but was Kross able to retain the championship? So before our main event, it was announced next week there will be a number 1 contenders match, Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Johnny Gargano. And going back to earlier, Dunne makes more sense to win over Bobby Fish if he's going to be in contention for the NXT championship. You want to build up Pete Dunne. So we had our main event, Finn Balor challenging Karrion Kross. And this one was very back and forth. Before I get to the rest of the match, Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. It says, Grimes versus Knight for the $1 Million Championship next TakeOver. Also, Kross deserves a Walter-type reign. I agree with you about Kross, and yeah, I would like to see the $1 Million title. I mean, why not? You might as well bring it in for NXT. I see no issue with that. Anyways, Balor and Kross, back and forth battle here. Balor kept taking it to Kross. He finally went for a pinfall, but Kross got at it 1. Kross put on the Kross jacket submission. Balor got to the ropes, and they went to the outside. Kross smashed Balor into the barricade wall several times. They went back into the ring. Balor made a comeback, sent Kross to the outside, did a dive onto Kross, but then Kross just popped right back up. Kross was like a serial killer. Balor kept trying to do all this stuff to him, and Kross just kept popping back up, slammed Balor onto the table. They went back into the ring. Balor managed to get back in it. He went for the coup de grace, but he missed, and Kross hit several of his German suplexes, but then Balor managed to recover from that, got a submission on, which Kross somehow powered out of, and he actually had to grab the referee as a little bit of leverage to power out of it. So a nice little way to make Balor look strong here. And then Kross did his forearm strikes to the back of the head of Balor, and then put the Kross jacket on again. Balor fought, but he just passed out from the pain, making Karrion Kross your winner, still the NXT World Champion. And I think this is the end for Finn Balor in NXT. I think he's going back to the main roster. Balor did an interview with Ryan Satin earlier this week and said he was open to going back to Raw and SmackDown, and teased we might see the Demon again. That's not completely ruled out. With fans coming back and WWE needing to freshen things up, I think there's a very good chance we see Balor reemerge around July 16th, July 19th. And I'd put him on SmackDown. I'd get him in there with Roman Reigns. Even if he loses, it'd be fun to see Balor challenge Reigns at some point. Maybe even bring out the Demon. The Demon could end up losing, but the Demon versus Reigns, I think, would be a hell of a match. And I think that match would be one that people would wonder, maybe this is when we finally see Reigns lose the championship. And Dwayne Atkinson with a $5 super chat basically already answered the question, but he says, will Balor re-debut on the main roster on July 16th? I think so. This really felt like the end of Balor. Like, what else can he do? There's really nowhere else for him in NXT. No other programs. I think you gotta bring him back and get him on Raw and SmackDown. That entrance is a big deal. Like the Finn Balor entrance, the fans participate in that, and that's the visual. That's a visual you want when WWE starts touring again, their first show back, a sold-out arena. You want Finn Balor coming out there and the audience participating with it. That's the kind of thing you can show and have the media outlets run. It just makes sense. Balor's entrance is very fan-friendly, fan interaction. He's got to be on the main roster. Like him at the CWC with 100 people doing the entrance. It's cool, but 15,000 people, that's a whole different beast. When 15,000 people are doing that, that's something really cool. And I think that to have that visual for the first show back is a big deal. So now the question is, and several people, Curtis Butler, Walter Cruz, Israel Diaz, all think SmackDown as well. Maybe Balor accepts a U.S. title open challenge, as Colin Andrew pointed out. And yeah, I would put Balor. I mean, Balor could definitely go right in there with Roman Reigns at some point and challenge him for the title. Now, the next question is, who's next for Karrion Kross? They announced that triple threat for next week, which I think it's going to be Pete Dunne. And that's why, again, Dunne beat Bobby Fish on NXT this week to build him up. But yeah, even Dunne or any of these three guys, serious contenders, that's a problem now with Kross, is you don't really have any solid contenders for the guy. The only person, and this was mentioned earlier, is Walter. Like if you get Walter back to the U.S., the two NXT champions, like that would be huge. Like that could headline a future takeover, maybe the first takeover in an arena again. With a full crowd or close to a full crowd, whatever they can draw. Like that would be an awesome like SummerSlam weekend takeover match. Karrion Kross versus Walter, champion versus champion. But beyond that, like Dunne is probably going to be the guy. So he got the win this week. And O'Reilly, I mean, I guess that would be a really good match, but I think Dunne, they've already been teasing Dunne as the opponent, so I feel like it's going to be Dunne. Gargano, no, won't be Gargano. I don't think so. Dwayne Atkinson with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Dwayne. He says, when WWE goes back to live crowds, is it going to be 100% capacity? Yeah, it's going to be how many people WWE can fit in the arena. And they already have a pre-sale going for Money in the Bank, and apparently it's already close to sold out. So yeah, WWE, the idea is once they start touring again, it's back to normal. It's going back to touring. They're not looking back. The Thunderdome is done. They're going to be touring again. And I think we're going to see everything back to normal as far as events go. They put out this waiver. So basically you're signing an agreement or making an agreement that if you get COVID, that's on you. But you know what? If you're vaccinated, it's pretty low risk at this point. The cases keep dropping. And looks like we're moving forward with trying to get the world back to normal. But obviously the pandemic is still a very real thing and will be for a while, and people should still take the precautions whenever possible. And Darren says, could you see Escobar giving Kross a fight? I mean, he lost to Kushida, so probably not. Ciampa would be a good challenger for Kross, although Didn't Kross already beat him? I thought he did. I'm starting to forget Kross's big matches, but I thought he already beat Ciampa. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Yeah, Israel Diaz says he did. All right, so as far as letter grade goes for NXT, it was a good show. I give it a solid B. Main event was really good. I definitely recommend checking it out. And the DiBiase segment was fun. We had some good matches on the show. Most of the show was not super memorable, but the main event, I think, definitely is worth your time checking out if you haven't seen it. Got a lot of B's in the chat room. CC Drink, Colin Andrew, Curtis Butler, MVP Kev. Game is on 100. All give it a B. Israel Diaz gives it a B+, as does Darren and Jeremy. Mohammed gives it a C+. And by the way, next video coming up, Double or Nothing predictions. Feel free to tune in live for that if you can. And we got more content coming up. No DQ review, SmackDown, and then, of course, Sunday night, we got Double or Nothing. I will be recapping live after the show goes off the air. Curtis Butler says, better than Flaw Raw. Yeah, just a little bit better than Raw. I mean, who are we kidding? A billion times better than Raw. Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat says, the next draft or shakeup should include NXT. I would love to see main roster people go back to NXT, like Kevin Owens or people like Orton, go to NXT to freshen up. That would be all right, although I could see some people seeing that as a demotion. One person I'd like to see go to NXT is Daniel Bryan. If he re-signs with WWE, like, I definitely think they should trade out. Like, if Balor, I said this a couple weeks ago, actually. If Balor goes back to the main roster, have somebody else go back down to NXT to take Balor's place. And that gives you a whole new lineup of fresh matches you can do. I think Daniel Bryan is your best choice, but there's a lot of other people. And Colin Andrews says send Kevin Owens back. I'd be fine with that. Kevin Owens, I think, would be a solid choice. Maybe Sami Zayn. You know, a couple of those guys that have been doing pretty well. Nakamura could be one of those guys you could send back. Although right now I think Nakamura is in a good spot with Boogs, so I don't want to see him go back right now. I think there's a lot of potential with that. But yeah, you could even send somebody like Randy Orton down there to do a big match. You know, why not? Although he's invested with Matt Riddle right now. So we'll see what happens. But I definitely think they should replace Balor with another guy that's been active on the main roster just to freshen things up in NXT as well. And I think it's a cool idea to have like one or two main roster veterans back in NXT just to mix it up with the other guys. So that's all I got for tonight, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching. I appreciate your viewership and support. Please continue to spread the word. Tell a friend about NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. And Dwayne Atkinson with a $2 super chat says, send Colin Andrew to NXT, LOL, JL. Well, maybe Colin Andrew will have to take a trip down to NXT at some point, or maybe NXT will come up here to us in the Midwest, maybe to Ohio or Michigan, and we'll be able to see NXT again before the year is over. Take care, everybody. Have a great night, and I will see you all next time.